and welcome to a Minecraft tutorial. In this tutorial, I will be teaching you the basics of redstone in Minecraft. Basically, I'm going to be giving you a crash course of the redstone section in Minecraft. So I'm going to be teaching you all about the dispensers, the droppers, the redstone itself, like the redstone dust, and all of that other stuff. So if you want specific contraptions that you can make out of redstone, then this is not the video for you. This will be the very, very, very basic parts of redstone in Minecraft. And hopefully at the end of this video, you can leave it and you can then play around with redstone in your world. And you'll actually sort of know how it works. And you can just play around with it and learn from there. So let's get started. Let's first start off with the redstone dust itself. You can get redstone dust by mining redstone ore when you go mining. And when you put redstone dust on the ground, it is on default, it is turned off. Now you know it's turned off because if you look at this, it is a dark red. Now, when I give it a source of energy, you can see that it turns into this sort of orangey light red, and there are these little particles coming off of it. So when there is actually like an energy source going through the redstone dust, you can see that this lamp turns on. This is a redstone lamp, as you can see from the name, and basically when there is a redstone signal going to the lamp, it'll turn on. And of course there are a bunch of blocks that I will be getting to in the future of this video that also, of course, need the redstone signal. So this is the important part right here. You can leave this video right now knowing that this is how redstone works, and you can probably just play around with it by yourself. But if you want more information, just keep watching. But as you can see, when I take away the redstone torch, then it turns off. Another thing about redstone torches is that not only do they go outwards in like the four sides and they turn on the redstone, I'm going to say turn on, but that's obviously not what it really is, but they can also go up. So if I put a block on top and then if I put redstone on top of it, you can see that the redstone lights up. So this is pretty important if you want to build some compact redstone devices, because what you can do is you can then put a torch on top of this, and as you can see, since this torch at the bottom is turned on, the torch on top is turned off. So then if I put another block on top like this, you'll see that this is turned on, and that is the default. Redstone torches on default are turned on like this. But then if I get, let's say, a button and I place it down, so you can see when I get my button and then I place it down on the block that the redstone torch is on and I press it, the redstone torch turns off, and so does the redstone next to it. So when I press this button, watch the torches. Let me just quickly do this. So you can see that turns on, but those two, the one at the top and the one at the bottom, turns off. So basically what this is a completely vertical redstone trail, instead of having to do like a staircase of redstone dust, which does take up a little bit of space. Let me show you what I mean by that. So when you could have done this, you can also just do that with the redstone torches, and it is a lot more compact. So that is also pretty important. And you see that I used this button right here. Well, you can also use, and this is what will normally be used, you can use the pressure plates like the four here, you can use a button, or you can use a lever or lever, depending how you want to pronounce it, and these are used usually to open doors, but that of course isn't really using the redstone. But what you'll probably usually be using this for in your house is to open iron or even wooden doors. So if I just put an iron door there, and then if I put the button next to it, you can see that it opens. And if you want to do this with a wooden door, I suggest using a pressure plate. If I can actually get the door, there we go. And then if I get a pressure plate, there we go. So as you can see, if I put the wooden door down, and then if I put the pressure plate in front of it, if I walk on the pressure plate, it opens. Now, what you also will be using this for other than doors is you can use this to open pistons, and the pistons are down there. So just remember that these are the pressure plate, the button, and the lever or lever, however you want to pronounce it, is what you'll be using as the main source of your redstone signal, other than like the torches. And another thing you can use for a redstone signal is the redstone block itself. But you probably won't be using this that often because this is always on unless you do some other stuff to it. So yeah, as you can see, when I put this next to the door, it just opens. I don't have to stand on the pressure plate, and same for the iron door. So yeah, this is just like the easiest way for something to get a redstone signal, and the redstone block is pretty useful for when you're testing your contraptions to see if they actually work, because you can easily see if the redstone is turned on or off. So now going on to repeaters. Repeaters are pretty important because if you remember, whoops, I just dropped that. If you remember that the torch activates redstone. Now the thing about the torch activating the redstone is that it doesn't last forever. If I go out here, and it actually lasts for a long time, but if I keep going, you'll see that the red slowly starts getting darker and darker. You see, right next to the torch, it's sort of this orangey red, but as I get farther and farther away, it gets darker until it actually turns off. This is where there is no signal going through the redstone. As you can see, this has the particles, and this does not. It's kind of hard to tell in between the two, but just so you make sure, if I put a redstone lamp next to this, as you can see, it is not turning on because this is turned off because of how far away we are from the torch. Now, if I get rid of that and then put the redstone lamp here, as you can see, it turns on because that is just about on enough for the lamp to turn on. Now, let's say you want your redstone dust to travel even farther, like you want it to go to here. This is where the repeater comes in, because if you put a repeater, let's say right out here, because that's as far as it goes, and if you put it here, as you can see, the repeater travels down here, so as you can see, this is like orange, just how it was next to the torch. So what the repeater does is it repeats the signal. It keeps it going, and it basically restarts it so you can have a long trail of like redstone dust going to wherever you want it to go. And this is really simple right here. And of course, the block doesn't need to be there. I just accidentally put that there. So yeah, the repeater can be there as long as it's sort of in like the trail. So as you can see, if I just put it here, it's still the same thing. So yeah, the repeater just continues on the signal. So repeaters are pretty important. And another thing about the repeater is that, as you can see, it only goes in one direction. Now, wherever this front is, that's where it is going. So if I try to, let's say, put a torch here, and then a redstone here, and then if I get my lamp and more redstone dust, and I put it here, as you can see, the signal doesn't carry on. That is because this repeater is going in that direction. So you can't have it be going like different directions at the same time. It only goes one direction, and this repeater is going that way. But if I turn it around so it faces this way, as you can see, it continues to the lamp. And you'll also notice that since the repeaters can only go in one direction, you can actually have many rows of repeaters right next to each other, and they won't like interfere with each other. So let me show you what I mean by that. So let's say I want this lamp to turn on. So if I just put that there, and then if I press on this, it's because it's a redstone lamp. But basically, as you can see, that one doesn't turn on because that lamp is next to that lamp. But anyway, so that doesn't turn on because if this was redstone dust, then wait. Oh my gosh, okay. Sorry. Okay, there we go. As you can see, so the redstone dust would just go to it. Anyway, that was probably a really bad way of explaining, but basically, repeaters carry on the redstone signal, and they only go in one direction, which means you can have them going in one direction next to each other, which you can't really do with redstone dust. So, moving on is the comparator. Now, the comparator can be a bit confusing. Well, at least it was for me, because comparators are just a bit weird. So they look sort of like a repeater, except they have 3 notches. Now, if I put this down, you can see that there's basically like a repeater and then an extra redstone torch. So if I turn that on, and then if I put the redstone here, whatever. Anyway, so that's the comparator, but let me show you what it's really used for. So if I get a redstone torch and I put it here, and then if I get another one and put it here, and if I put the comparator going this way, so as you can see, remember that the redstone signal, one second, there we go. So I'm going to put 2 redstone here, and then a torch here. As you remember, the redstone sort of starts fading away. So if there's redstone going this way, and then there's redstone going into it like this, that sort of turns it off, and this is closer. So if I put that there, that is turned off, because the power going here sort of gets compared and canceled. That's the best way I can explain it. From, let's say this is torch A and that's torch B. Well, torch A has power going to there, and it should go out to there. But once I add torch B, it stops it like that. You see how when I get rid of it and then put it back? But if I have redstone let's say this is torch B. If I have torch B closer to the comparator, so if I just go out here a little bit, and then if I put redstone here, but then I'm just going to get rid of this because this is sort of in the way now. Anyway, but then if I have redstone torch A, I'm getting really confused, but anyway, redstone torch A here, and you see that's farther away now than it was before. Before it was only 1 block away from the comparator, now it is 2. And then if I put torch B next to it, like only 1 block away, and then if I put redstone over here, as you can see, it lights up because it's sort of like a repeater where it only goes in one direction. You see it's going this way, then it goes in one direction. And since this is closer, enough power can get through to actually power the redstone over here, instead of this canceling out, because as you can see, there's 2 blocks away from it here. So comparators can be a bit tricky to use, but that's basically how they work. They sort of like compare the signals, and then you get the output. Next is the dispenser and the dropper. Now, the difference between the dispenser and the dropper is that the dropper sort of drops items, as you would expect in the name, and the dispenser dispenses them. I know that sounds like a really stupid way of explaining it, but you'll just see what I mean. So, if I put a dispenser there, and then a dropper here, and then if I put, let's say, a minecart in it, so let me just get a minecart right here, and let me also get a track. I'll just get a rail. There we go. So let's put a rail in front of both of these, and then if I put the minecart in the dispenser, let me get one more. There we go. And then if I put a minecart in the dropper, and then when I press the button, you'll see what the main difference is between them. So this is the dropper, and I press it, and as you can see, it just fires out the item. So now I have my minecart back. So let me just show you that again, just in case you didn't see it. And if I just back up a little bit so I can pick it up, and if I just press it out, you see it drops it out. But with the minecart in the dispenser, and when I press the button, it actually dispenses out the minecart onto the rail. So this is a nice way of sort of having like an automatic like railway where you can just press a button and the minecart comes out, then you press another button and you're off. Of course, if that was a powered rail. But anyway, so that is the main difference between a dispenser and a dropper. If you just want to drop items out, then you want to use a dropper, because a dispenser uses a bow, which is kind of expensive when you just want to make one dispenser. So if you want something like this where it actually fires out the like entity like the minecart or a boat, you can also do that with boats, or maybe lava or water, then use a dispenser. But if you just want an item, like a single item to be fired out, then you would use the dropper instead. The next sort of redstone topic is the tripwire. Now remember where I said that you would usually be using levers or the button or the pressure plates, all of these right here. You'd usually be using those as your sort of like on and off switch as a power source. But you can also use the tripwire hook and some string. Now, if you did not know this, and seeing that this is mainly just used for redstone, you can actually put the string on the ground, so you can sort of see the string right there. Now, what you need is, I'm just going to quickly get a block. I don't know why I searched block like that was ever going to work, but anyway. So, as you can see, if I put a block here, and then a block here, and then when I put the tripwire hook on, there we go. So you can sort of see that when I am on it, they are down, and when I'm not on it, they're sort of like up. So if you look there, and then I get off, and then it sort of moves. So this, when you stand on this string, it sort of activates the tripwire hooks, and then that'll send like a redstone signal. So if I just get my lamp back, there we go. So I don't use tripwire hooks that much, but if I just go like that, nope, that won't work. 1 second. Like I said, I don't really use these that much, but they are used in the jungle temples. So it's obviously like a trap, that sort of thing. So if I just put that there, and then, oh my gosh, where is my redstone lamp? There we go. Okay, I'm sorry about this. There we go. Okay. So I just go like here, and then if I go here, as you can see, the light turns on because I'm basically sending like a redstone signal into the block that the tripwire hook is on to the repeater, and then with the repeater it goes into the lamp. So if I go here, it turns on, and this is mostly going to be used for traps, like whether you're firing out fire charges from a dispenser or maybe arrows. That's sort of what this would be used for, and that's why it is used in the jungle temple, because it is used for traps. So the tripwire hook, pretty simple. It is kind of like the pressure plate, but not really, and it's a bit more like bigger because you obviously need the tripwire hooks. And you can actually get around this by standing right here. One thing people usually forget is that you can't actually jump over the hooks. Oh wait, maybe you can. No, you can't. So yeah, if you want to get around these without activating it, then what you need to do is sneak around at the actual hook and not the string. So anyway, moving on is the pistons and sticky pistons. The sticky pistons and the piston is probably one of the most important things in Redstone in Minecraft. So even though they are very simple, you might want to actually pay attention, like closely pay attention, because how important they are. So first, the difference in between the sticky piston and the piston is, let me just quickly get a normal piston, is that, well, obviously the sticky piston is sticky, and which basically means that a normal piston, if I just... Sorry about the lag. If I place the piston down, obviously you can't see any slime on it. And by the way, a sticky piston is made by putting a piston and a slime ball in a crafting table. So obviously it's like made out of slime. Anyway, if I just put a block in front of this and then activate the piston. Nope. I always do this. I always put it next to it when I have to put it down here. There we go. And I press it. As you can see, it extends, and then it pushes the block. But as you can see, it doesn't bring the block back. So if you want to reuse this, you always have to put like a block back in front of it, and then get rid of the block that you've already placed. So that's a bit awkward to do. But if you want to do it where the block comes back, so you can always reuse it, then what you need to do is you need to use a sticky piston. Now, a sticky piston is pretty much the same as a piston, except I think that the sticky piston is more useful because you can see the slime right there, and then the sticky piston is more useful because if I then activate the sticky piston with a button, as you can see, it pushes out, but then it pushes back in because it's like sticky. That's why it's called sticky piston. So it pulls the block back to it. And a way that the sticky piston can be quite useful is if I just fill up this hole and I make a redstone clock. So let me get a repeater and the redstone dust. There we go. So if I make a redstone clock, and this is how you make it, by the way, I don't think I have shown you this yet, but if you just do that and then that, there we go. This is being a bit awkward right now, so sorry about that. And if I just put that there, and then if I put in the corners the redstone dust, you'll see it sort of makes like this square, and then you can pull back the repeaters. And then if you just activate it, and you want to activate it with a lever because a button is sort of delayed, like it'll turn on and then it's sort of a delay to turn back off. But if I just do this and then go, see, that's a lot faster. But now this clock is going. So this is a redstone clock made with repeaters and redstone dust. So basically this is going to be constantly going. So let's say you want a sticky piston or just a normal piston to be like constantly going. Well, this is how you would do that. So if I did this in a sort of bad way, but if I do this and then this, and then if I put a piston here, and then like that, so when I put the lever down, as you can see, if I do that, it sort of like switches it off because the redstone is still down there, the clock is still going, and I haven't destroyed any redstone by doing this. If I pull it back, you see the redstone is still there. So what you can do is, let's say you want a piston to be going up and down, or hitting you for whatever reason. So yeah, now it's on, and it's constantly going, and so let's say you want something like that. Usually you'd be doing this with either a dispenser or a dropper, but let's say you want to do that, and then if you do this, it closes off, but you don't have to like get rid of anything. So this is like this is a cool way of doing a switch, because the only way you would be able to like stop this redstone clock is if you broke it like this. You see, now it just stops. But if you want it to keep going, but you want it to be able to turn on and off, then that is how you would do that, and it is really simple. But anyway, that is the sticky piston and the piston. Now moving on to the hopper. The hopper is really useful if you want to have sort of not really automated, but like almost an automated storage sort of thing. So basically what you can do is you can move materials in like a minecart, and then it goes into a hopper. Anyway, I'm just going to show you what you can do with this. So, whoops, I need to do, there we go. So as you can see, there's a hopper, and then if I put a chest down here, and if I put an item in here, so let's put my redstone here, you'll see that the item will go away. That is because the item is now in here. And you can also do this vice versa. Let's say I put a chest on top, and then if I put a hopper on the bottom, and then let's do like a chest over here. But you want to make sure that this sort of like pointy bit is going into the object. So you need to click on the object while like shifting, while crouching. So then it goes into it. You see now that it sort of like goes into it. So if I put a object in here, let's put a lever. And see, it goes away because I just put it in there. It goes through the hopper, and now it's in this chest. So the hopper sort of like sucks up items and puts it into a different item. So these are really cool, and a very useful way of doing this, so it's sort of automated, kind of, is by, let's get a furnace. And then if I do something actually, I can just do it here. So something very simple is, whoops, there we go. So what you can do is if you put something in a furnace, like you can put, well, obviously you would put what you normally would, so I'm just going to get some coal, and then I'm going to get some, I don't know, like chicken, I don't know. So then if I get that, and if I put it in the furnace, you'll see that, well, it'll cook, so let me just wait for it to cook. You see, now that it has finished cooking, it doesn't actually show up here. That's because it goes through the hopper, and then it goes into the chest. So what you can do is you can have one chest full of coal and full of like raw food. It goes into the furnace. Once it's done cooking, it goes into the hopper, and then goes into a chest. So then you just have like a food chest. So that is a very useful way to use the hoppers. You can also do stuff with minecarts, but I'm not going to get into that right now, or at least in this video. Next is the trapped chest. Just like the tripwire hook, this is sort of used for using like traps. That's why it's called a trapped chest, because I don't know, it's sort of like a trap. Anyway, but what basically happens is when you put it down and when you open it, it sends a redstone signal to do something. Okay, sorry about that. I was being really stupid. So basically, I don't know. Okay, so basically, once you open a trap chest, you can see that the redstone goes through it, and then it goes to the redstone lamp, or whatever you want to be activated. This is also used in jungle temples, like the tripwires, where if you open like a trap chest, it would activate like a dispenser or something. I think it's used in jungle temples. I'm pretty sure it is. So yeah, what you can do is if there's a chest that you don't want people to open, you can maybe have like a dispenser that would fire out arrows when it is hit. So if like someone opens it, then it would send a redstone signal to maybe a dispenser, and then it would like fire an arrow at that person. Now, the way you can tell the difference between a redstone chest or a trap chest and a normal chest is that it's very obvious in this texture pack that I'm using, well, in this resource pack. Yeah, it's very obvious in this resource pack that I'm using because there's just that little red there. But even in the default texture pack, there's sort of like this red, like little like outline shadow sort of thing that is on the chest, so you can always tell the difference just about. Once again, it's very obvious in this resource pack, but you can usually tell in the default resource pack as well. Next is the daylight sensor. So this is exactly what it sounds like if I just quickly get it, there we go. So when it is daytime, the daylight sensor is exactly what it sounds like. It senses whether it is day or night. So what you can do is if you just hook it up to this, and then you do this, as you can see that there's a redstone signal going on because it is daytime. So then if I put a block here, now if I just don't do what I'm going to do now, and if I just do this, the light turns on. So basically, this is telling you that it is daytime, and you obviously know. What the light, though, is most useful for is actually being off during the daytime, because obviously the sun provides the light, and then being on during the nighttime, which is of course more useful because you don't want your house to be dark and then mobs can spawn. So if I get rid of this lamp, and I replace it with a block, it can be like any block you want to be, I think. And then if I put a redstone torch right here, and then as you can see, since the redstone is on over here, the redstone torch is off. And then if I just put redstone here, and then a lamp right here, as you can see, the light is turned off. But when I go to nighttime, wait, I think it technically is not nighttime yet. So I'm just gonna go time set. I go like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Minecraft? No. Okay. But when I go to nighttime, as you can see, the light turns off. So when it is nighttime with this setup, it has to be all the way nighttime. Like, I tried to put in the /time set night, and that technically didn't work because the sun was just rising up. So it needs to be completely nighttime. And then with this setup that I'm doing here, you can have lights on during the nighttime and the lights off during the day because they aren't needed. Now if I just go back to day, and then you see that it will turn off because it's daytime now. So yeah, this little contraption is very useful using the daylight sensor, so that will be pretty useful and kind of nice to have in your house if you want it to be. Anyway, next is the note block. So as you can see right there, and basically what you can do is by right-clicking it, you can obviously see that I'm like changing the tune. Alright, so you can see that I'm changing the tune, and that's basically making it higher and louder. I can't hear right now for whatever reason, but trust me. So basically, the next sort of redstone topic is the note block. Now, the note block is pretty fun, and it is what you use if you want to make your own sort of custom music in Minecraft, but without like having to download stuff and all that. Because sometimes the discs in just the jukebox can get a bit boring. So you can actually make music with this, or you can just have fun listening to the sound. So by right-clicking, I am basically changing the tune. So if I put a button down and then I do that, that is the sound there. But if I go over here, and if I put a button down and then press that, so there are actually different sounds that you can do. So let me just make this more like, there we go. So it's kind of hard to tell, but anyway. So yeah, you can basically tune them to make different sounds and look at all the pretty colors and all that. But basically, if you don't like the sound of this, because the sound of the note block on just sandstone can be kind of, well, bad sounding. So if you put the note block on wood or dirt, the dirt sort of has like a piano sound. So if we just press this, that sort of sounds like a piano, and it sounds really cool. So that is a good sound that you can do for maybe like a doorbell, or maybe you can actually build like a life-size piano in Minecraft. And then, well, not life-size, but like big enough that you can actually stand on and do stuff with pressure plates. Anyway, and then on the wood, it's sort of like a deeper sound, and it sounds a lot better than just the sandstone. So that's sort of the different sounds you can get. And then if I just put this here, and then if I just put a button down, so that sort of sounds weird. So this is the sandstone, and then this is the wood, and then this is the dirt. So yeah, those are all the different sort of sounds of the note block. And one thing you need to keep in mind is that if you put a block above the note block, then it actually doesn't make any sound. As you can see, I'm just pressing the button and nothing is like happening. There's no sound. So yeah, you need to always make sure that there is no block above the note block, because then nothing will happen. So yeah, keep that in mind if you ever want to build some sort of contraption out of like note blocks. Anyway, next is just like the rails in general. Now, rails aren't really a part of Redstone unless you want them to be, I guess. So I'm just going to do something as brief as I can and try and make it like, because rails are used in Redstone occasionally, but they aren't like, I don't know, they aren't that commonly used in Redstone, except for maybe making clocks or except the kind of advanced stuff. So I don't really want to go that deep into all of this, because I could probably make a episode on its own just about rails in Minecraft, so I'm not going to do that. But anyway, the powered rail is obviously what gives the minecart power when it's going along. So I do this, and then if I put the minecart there and I just activate it and just press along, it gives it the power. Now obviously I was pushing it, so that was more what gave the power there. But if I just continue on this track all the way like out here, and then if I put another powered rail down here, and then I need my lever. Now remember, you need to activate it. Without it activated, it's that dark look, and then when you activate it, it's all like bright red. And you can do that with either a redstone torch, redstone block. I like to use levers because they're pretty cheap to make. So if I just do that, as you can see, when I push the minecart along like this, you can see it goes, and then it gets more power as it reaches the powered rail, and then obviously stops because this track stops. Anyway, the next rail is the activator rail. So if I go farther away, because this is kind of explosive, so if I just go over here, and then I accidentally put the brightness down on my computer, so sorry about that. Anyway, so if I just put the activator rail down there, and then go along like this, and then if I push minecart with a TNT on the activator rail, if it's actually powered, a herp-a-derp. So 1 second, So if I just push, oh, wait, go away. Okay, so if I get a minecart with a TNT, and if I just push that along, as you can see, the activator rail activates it, and then you have exploding minecart TNT. So yeah, that's that. That's basically what it does. So that's really all you need to know for the activator rail. But next is the detector rail, which is probably more useful in the actual redstone aspect. So if I just put the detector rail there, and then if I put a powered rail and not powered up, whoopsies, let me get a block. There we go. Stone monster egg, why not? There we go. So I just put stone down there, and then if I put the powered rail, and then if I put a minecart down, you can see that when the minecart goes over it, it hits the detector rail, and the detector rail actually activates the powered rail. So if you don't want to have to put levers around, because that does get a little bit annoying, then you can just put the detector rail in front of the powered rail, and that'll power it when the minecart goes over it. So that is a cool thing that you can do there. And the next sort of redstone topic are the item frames. And this is pretty cool, because this is something that I haven't really used much, but it is very useful for maybe doing some sort of code or maybe sorting stuff out. Anyway, there are lots of cool things you can do with this, and let me just quickly show you what that is. So if I get a comparator, these are pretty useful, and then if I get redstone lamps, and the redstone lamps are just to sort of show you what I mean, and this is like the easiest way to show you exactly what an item frame and an item in an item frame can do. So if I just get something like a redstone torch, and then the redstone dust itself, and of course the most important is the item frame. So if I just get that, okay, so if I put the item frame on a block and I'll put an item in it, then I can get a comparator, and if I put the comparator right here and just put redstone trail all the way down here, I think it only goes up to 8 blocks, but anyway, if I just go up to here, so when I turn the item in the item frame around, if I've actually done this right, which I have not, derp, okay, sorry about this, the redstone lamp either needs to be in the ground, or the redstone needs to be above it. So anyway, I just put the redstone lamps down here. This is working now, but if I just take this out again so I can show you, and I put it back in, there we go, or not. Okay, so as you can see, when it's tilted like that, 2 lamps are on, and then when I tilt it again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there's actually 8. So if I just add one more lamp down here, so this is really cool. This is used in redstone usually as maybe a combination lock. There are some elevators that you can do where this is sort of like a dial to point to which floor, but basically, as you can see, if I just like twirl this around, you can see it goes up and down and up and down and up and down. So yeah, this is a really cool thing that you can do with item frames. Once again, it's kind of new, I just don't use it that much. So yeah, this is a pretty cool thing that you can do with item frames. Anyway, the last thing is probably the third coolest thing you can do with redstone. That's probably like the first, and the note blocks are the second, and this is probably the next one of my favorite things. This is from 1.9, I think, maybe. Oh wait, no, it's not 1.9. What am I saying? Okay, the slime block is really cool because, one, it is bouncy. If you land on it, if I just fall, come on. No, let me fall. There we go. So as you can see, I bounce back up, and you bounce like half or a third of your original falling height. So that's something you can do, and it is really cool. So if you want to be able to fall somewhere and you don't need like water, you just want to like fall on a block, then you can do that with slime blocks. So these are pretty cool. You can use them for like bouncy castles. But if you want to use them for redstone, and this is pretty cool, since it is a slime block and it is kind of like sticky, just like how a sticky piston is made with slime and a piston, it's sort of sticky. That's obviously why it's called that. And I just need to get a slime block. So if I get a slime block, and then when I put the sticky piston down, and then, whoops, need to put it, nope, come on, sticky piston. This is a bit awkward with the pistons. There we go. And then I put a slime block where I actually wanted to put it, and then basically, if I surround the blocks around the slime block like this, and this is usually used in like elevators or even like jump pads, where if you like stand on a pressure plate, it activates a piston, which pushes up the slime block. Anyway, so there are some really cool contraptions made out of redstone that you can do with the slime block. But if I just get a button or a lever, I'll do a lever. So basically, when there we go. So, as you can see, the blocks actually stick to the slime block. So, if I just go like this, nope. There we go. So, it goes up and down, up and down. But now this doesn't happen with normal blocks. If a slime block wasn't here and it was just a normal block, the block would go up and then it'd go back down. Like, none of the blocks would go with it. So, once again, this is used in like elevators, and this is also used in submarines. Since it only needs like a redstone block to activate pistons, it doesn't need actually any redstone dust. It can actually go underwater, and you can use submarines in there. Just look up like redstone slime block contraptions on YouTube or just on Google and look at the images. It is really cool what you can do with these. But yeah, this is probably like my second favorite thing. Probably because it's bouncy. It's really fun to do that. Anyway, that is all I've shown you today. Just to review, there's the slime blocks, item frames, the rails, the note blocks, the daylight sensors, the trap chest, the hoppers, the pistons, the tripwire hooks, the dispenser and dropper, and then the very basic stuff, which is the repeater and the comparator and all the redstone torches and everything you can use to activate the redstone, and then the redstone dust itself. So I hope you found this video very useful. I hope it wasn't confusing. I know at times I talked a bit fast, or I stuttered a bit, or messed up on my words, which sort of made it kind of hard to understand what I was saying. But this is like the very basic stuff of redstone. I'm sorry if it was too basic, but if you are like really good at redstone and you just watched this all the way through and you were like, yeah, I learned nothing from this, well, if you're really good at redstone, then you probably shouldn't have watched this, because this is for like the noobs of Minecraft who have zero clue about what is actually going on. And I'm gonna be honest, I did not know some of this stuff. I was looking through the redstone tab of the creative inventory, and I sort of looked at something and I was like, I don't really know how that works. Like, I wasn't sure about the activator rail. To be honest, I thought it was kind of like a detector rail, but it obviously isn't. So yeah, I was unsure about that. I was a bit unsure about the daylight sensor, and I was a bit unsure about the comparator. So yeah, I learned from this video. I hope you learned from this video as well. Anyway, that's all I have to say today. I've been Moo 003, and I hope to see you later. Bye!